Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on episode 31, season 5 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live every Wednesday throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Well, after some cracking finals matches, we are down to only 4 teams, with the Sharks finally earning themselves a finals win, although they face a mammoth task this week. How are you, and how was your weekend?
I'm good, thanks, Brad. Yep, probably fitting too, the prelims, I think, probably over the course of the whole year that it's probably the 4 best teams pitted against each other, so which is good. Looking forward to it. How was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was good, mate. And yeah, the top 4 sides end up being the final 4, so kind of seems fitting. And I think spoilers for when we discuss who we're picking to win this week. I think most people on the planet have picked the same 2 teams. So we'll see what happens. But while we're here, before I go into the next of it, Paul's not here tonight, as we mentioned last week. He has earned himself a night off. So let's see if I can job in his absence. But while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the finals week 2 matches. We'll then answer some questions from you guys, as well as questions we're prepared for each other. We'll then preview finals week 3 and decide who we're picking, and then end the night with a quick recap of Super League. So remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show. No doubt I'll get derailed, like I've already just seen. Jacko's here, and I see Robbie's here too, saying, will the New York Giants win this week?
No.
I don't know. They might. They won this weekend, mate. Don't write them off. We're 1-2 now. I'm not even paying attention at the moment, so I don't even know who we're playing in week 4. But yeah, I'm going to say we're going to win. I'm just not betting on it anymore.
Loyalty.
We're playing Dallas. No. Yeah, we'll beat Dallas. So yeah, there we go. First derailment already happened. Love it. So we might as well jump straight into the top stories of the week, Richie.
Sounds good.
And yeah, as Mark Roberts says, to quote Paul, no faffing around tonight. There's plenty of room to faff around. There's only 2 games to talk about.
I think there'll be some faffing.
So first one, it's been the first topic every week for the last few weeks, Josh Adokar. So the notes I've given you are completely different to what I've got, because there's been a lot more since then. Yeah. So in yours, I said not really much to talk about other than a quote from Gus Gould saying that there's too many contradictions in Adokar's story of the roadside drug test, and that they're still investigating, and that Adokar had faced the NRL Integrity Committee and maintained his innocence. Since then, though, mate, it sounds like he's going to get at least 3-week ban from the NRL, and the Daily Telegraph have actually reported today that Josh Adokar is going to be granted permission to leave the Bulldogs, if so be. Yeah, so it sounds like they don't want him anymore because of the situation. As we said, the golden rule, don't lie to Gus. But it sounds like they're going to try to do it in a way where they at least get some money out of it by, offloading him to another team that will do something. So we might get more developments by the time we do the show next Wednesday, but that's what I've got. Any surprises out of that from you, mate?
Not really. We'll probably get more developments tonight, straight after the show.
Yeah, it'll probably happen while we're on.
It's normally the way it goes.
Yeah. I know there was a bit of a story that the Dragons had approached the Bulldogs, very rumoured, but they had apparently proposed a swap to take Josh Adokar off their hands and give them Ravalawa, which the Bulldogs apparently said no. As Mark Roberts said, they've already turned down a trade deal for Ravalawa. It's not really a like for like, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what team's going to want to take him. Potential.
There'll be
I
someone
don't know,
desperate enough. Homecoming to the Tigers.
Yeah, I was trying to think who the wingers would be for the Tigers next year because they got Taruva.
Taruva and
Would they put Skelton on the wing? Because they just signed
they've
Skelton from the
signed
Nobbies.
Skelton. Yeah, that'll probably be it.
And Robbie's asked us, can we pick our Kiwis team? If you stick around, we'll try to do that in the question segment.
Yeah, we can try and give it a crack.
We can try. I haven't thought about it yet. But that's a good segue into the next part anyway. Stacey Jones has confirmed that the Kiwis would reach out to SJ for a possible Kiwis return. SJ himself, though, has said that he would be open to the idea, but only if Jerome Hughes gets injured before the Pacific Cup starts.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. I think we talked about it last week or the week before where he had a hell of a fairy tale ending. Would he want to go in and play the Kiwis? He basically said he'd always loved to play for the Kiwis. But yeah, I understand his point of view as well. So we'll see. Hopefully Jerome doesn't get injured. I think Jerome's been the best player in the comp this year, so I don't want to see him get hurt before it's all said and done. Any thoughts on that, mate?
I'm just trying to think of who's going to partner Jerome.
In the halves. Yeah.
Yeah, well, isn't obviously Dylan Brown's gone.
Foreign's apparently getting
either,
surgery.
Right?
Yeah. Foreign's getting surgery.
Yeah, shit. Just put your hand up, Sean. Sure, you can play 6. Who would be the one? I'm struggling to put someone there. There'll be someone I'm just completely glazing over in my head.
They're not going to go with Cody Nicarima, are they? Or is he still injured? Yeah. So Jacko said rumours hot for Nicarima. I think in terms of experience halves, he's really the last man standing. Yeah. Unless and Robbie, the Newcastle halfback, what?
Yes. Phoenix Crossland.
Phoenix Crossland. Potentially. I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks when they announce the team. We'll have to think about it in the back of our heads for Robbie's question later. We have to pick it. So we'll move on. There has been so Mark Roberts is giving us some proper info. Foreign's has had surgery. TMM had surgery and Brown is out. Stranger Weeks could come in. Oh yeah, KO Weeks. Yeah. And that Tuapiki playing 6 maybe as well. Yeah. And Crossland's likely going to be in hooker. Yeah. Crossland will probably play more the hooker role. So yeah, there's some good shout outs there. I'd like to see KO Weeks get a shot because he's been playing well. But we'll move on, mate, more to your field of things with the Samoans, mate. So there's been noise that the Samoan England tour has been pushed back a week due to Stephen Crichton, his wedding, with a large portion of the squad expected to be at the function. And apparently it clashes. I understand. I hope she's not watching, but who in their right? I don't know. I don't know Stephen Crichton's missus, mate, but I'm not even a player. And if I was involved in a wedding during the league season, it ain't happening. As I think I told you the story, my sister, God bless her, decided to get married when the Warriors had their second preseason game against the Storm, and I was watching it on my phone at the wedding. So,
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was just about to say what Jacko's put there. Why are you rescheduling a game for one player?
Because the whole Samoan squad's going to be at the wedding. I wouldn't see it happening normally. It does seem very strange. You know, I guess it would have to be like, yeah, Stephen, we understand you can't come because of the wedding, but the rest of you boys, tough bickies, we've got a tour to be on. So yeah, it just sounded weird to me.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, never, it's November, or the tour's in November, isn't it? October, November.
Shows our priorities, eh?
Yeah. December, January is the only time you should really have a wedding, I guess, in the league. Yeah, and then Jacko said that he goes, I mean, there's two stuff to play. He's not in our team. It doesn't matter. Go put on some weight and enjoy life for a bit. So we'll move on to the next one. After discussing Regan Campbell-Gillard most likely staying with the Sydney side, when we talked about last week, apparently the Titans are now favourites to sign him. He appears to be linked to everyone at the moment, so it may just be his manager spinning stories to get him a better deal. But yeah, Titan, he wouldn't go bad at the Titans. You think
I don't mind it.
Him, Fafita, and Big Tino could make a hell of a combination there for them. So yeah, hopefully we get some actual news on it rather than just saying every team bar the Eels is where he's going. Yeah, Mark said, technically, is there any time of the year when league season stops? 1st of November is the start of 2025. That's true. I don't know if I could get away with that with my missus, but yeah, it's pretty much full time now. We'll move on. Ben Teo, he spoke out during the week asking for an NRL team to take a chance on Valence Tafari, explaining that he has turned a corner in reserve grade this season. However, despite turning a corner, the Dolphins are not offering him an extension, so he will be without an NRL team in 2025. Other than our blanket statement of the Tigers, is there any team you think would pick up Valence Tafari?
Just trying to think. I don't know. I think he's got to have turned a corner, like Teo speaking. I don't think I didn't catch any of his footy in reserve grade this year, but yeah, from what I feel, I don't think he's probably not got the fitness to as a NRL outside back. Maybe an impact forward. His body type's more suited to that, but
I was saying, like Mark has said, can he hurry up and sort it for Regan? Because then we can move Bunty on the Eels, like it's rumored. I was going to say, Warriors, let's pick up Valence, make him a front rower. I don't see him as a centre.
No.
But yeah, I don't want to see him end his NRL career so early. But if a guy like Wayne Bennett can't get you into the right position to do your best, I don't know. That's kind of a red flag, I guess, for other NRL clubs. Other than your Bellamy's and that, and I don't see Craig Bellamy going, I'm going to make Valence my pet project. So I don't know. He might end up doing a Conrad and go to the Super League and gain 20 kilos, still be a monster.
Unless somebody's willing to chuck a what's his name, who's just signed with the Rabbitohs, Schuster, a deal like that at him, minimum, 1 year contract on a minimum.
Yeah.
But no one sticks out really that might pick him up.
Yeah. So we'll move on. The rumours are starting to firm that the Dolphins have signed Daniel Saifiti on a 3-year deal with the Knights. The Knights paying $200K of his salary for that deal each year to get him off their books. Not a bad deal for the Dolphins. Another experienced forward to go in after Jesse Bromwich has, hung the boots up. And getting the Knights to be able to pay some of his contract is always a win.
I don't mind it.
But yeah, still waiting for an actual official confirmation though. But yeah, not bad. Not unhappy with that. Next bit, we've got Ben Hunt again. So it looks like he's finally going to get released from the Dragons, mate. There's a lot of news that they are going to let him go. and that the Bulldogs and the Titans are both interested in the developments, with a lot of people expecting that he could be staying in Sydney, but going to the Doggies. Think if that is true, I think that's a big improvement for the Dogs. Ben Hunt is a guy like Ben Hunt could really help them out. But yeah, it's still a puzzling situation when that poor guy was trying so hard to get out of that bloody club and they refused. And now all of a sudden, after it looked like they talked him into it, he's no longer wanted.
Very strange, eh? Yeah. Very strange.
And Mark Roberts said, we'll take the Knights the starting prop off their hands to help get their books. Leo Thompson to the Whites. I want Leo Thompson so bad. I did see a rumor that the Raiders are interested in Thompson too, because since he hasn't signed an extension yet, you can officially approach him on the 1st of November. But yeah, I want him. And they were the big pitch apparently from the Raiders is, him and Joseph Tapine have a good relationship, but he's roommates in the Kiwis camp with a certain guy that's coming into the Warriors camp for 2025 and James Fisher Harris. So I'm hoping that gets him across the line. I want Leo.
To dream, mate. Fun to dream.
Yeah. I want Leo more than anything, though, mate. That's my goal. And then, Jacko said, since signing Healy, we have a spot left for Leo? No, we had one spot left, which Healy's taken, but as Mark mentioned already, there's the rumours that Bunty is going to go to the Eels. We had that one we talked about last week about Montoya going to the Tigers.
Yep.
If those two eventuate, that's 2 open spots. And Leo, it wouldn't be for 2025 because he's still got a contract for 2025 for the Knights. It'll be 2026. So I know contracts are a thing, but I don't see the Knights letting him go a year early if he does sign with another club. But so there would be space because I think there are a few Warriors coming to an end of the deal in 25. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. Knowing all of this, Lucky will end up staying with the Knights. But yeah, we'll move on. Last bit, were a few new developments since I gave you the notes. Kalen Ponga, mate, it's been blowing up my my socials today, mate. Yeah, and Max said the quote of Faith saying, "Brad's body is ready for Leo." Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great one. Great.
So yeah, Kalen Ponga, mate. He announced that he's withdrawn himself from selection for the Kangaroos to focus on winning a premiership with the Knights, which basically means he's never going to play internationals again because the Knights aren't winning the premiership, mate. This has developed further today with the NRL set to investigate Ponga's reasons for withdrawing, which in a statement, it kind of made it clear. He said he was doing it to focus on winning a premiership. But they could decide to ban Ponga a few games at the start of 2025. As in the current rules of the NRL, all clubs must make all their players available for rep fixtures. So it's in the rules. It's hardly ever used because how many times have we heard players, ruling themselves out? It kind of seems, yeah. And I've seen a lot of arguments from media and fans alike on both sides of this. I'm okay with it, with punishing him for doing it. If you're fit and available, you should want to play. And it's the only way we keep talking about on this show, wanting to get the internationals to a better level. And the only way you can do that is if you draw a line in the sand and say you can't just dictate when you're going to choose to wear the jersey. In my honest opinion, and it might be controversial, I wouldn't have him in my Kangaroo squad anyway.
Yeah.
I think there's other fullbacks I'd put above him. So he wouldn't have made the team anyway. And yeah, Jacko said Ponga once said he dreamt of being an All Black. So the question is, would he turn down an AB jersey? No, he wouldn't. And I I'm putting the tinfoil hat on, mate. So bear with me. I think the only reason the NRL is doing a stance on this now is because the Pacific Cup, which was their big promotion, right? They lost it. You know, the key one. And Australia, we know when they lose, they usually go on a 3 or 4 year hiatus where they don't play tests anymore. So they don't want the chance of, you know, how would it be if we go to, we'll probably still be doing the show, mate, but the Pacific Cup final, if it's between the Kiwis and Kangaroos and the Kiwis win it again, and you got the first 2 years of this new brainchild and the Kangaroos have lost both, they'll be ropeable and probably blow up the whole international game in spite. But yeah, I think they really want to make sure they've got the best players out there. So yeah, I'm fine with it. It's in the rules. I just hope they use it a bit more. It's only really the Kangaroos that do it. Like the Kiwis always seem down to play for their country. The island nations are all into it too. It's just the Australians that seem to not care as much. And Mark Roberts said the stupid thing is the NRL is one of those that run the International Rugby League. We need a standalone body for running the international game. Yeah, I think so too. It's just they're too big, the NRL, so they just bully everything into their way. But I think they're always going to have that power due to the NRL being the biggest kid in the playground. So I think the only way you're going to get like an international board that does it all on their own is if you can get the international game big enough where it can stand kind of on its own 2 feet, which it's kind of like a snake eating its own tail situation, because if the NRL can't enforce players to play the internationals aren't going to get bigger. So yeah, we'll see. I think Ponga's biggest mistake was coming out in public. I think if he had quietly talked to like Mal in the background and then just not being selected, no one would have batted an eye. But it's because he came out in public and said it. But yeah. And Nicholas said, surely it's his choice as to whether he's interested in playing any specific international representative, man. He's contracted to Newcastle, not Australia. Yeah, it's in the contract, though. So I agree, but it's in the contract about international representation as well. So
I agree too. If his heart's not in it, and that's his prerogative. If I'm an Aussie selector, then I'm just not going to select you then.
Yeah. At the moment, if your heart's not in it, then yeah, I wouldn't want to pick you anyway. But it's just going down to the legalities, like Jacko said. It's in the contract.
Yeah.
When you sign that contract, it's got the representative things in there. So yeah, it's gonna go round and round in circles. Yeah, and Mark said if he'd said it before he was named in the wider squad, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we had the Jason Tomlalo situation a few years ago where he was named and then he was automatically in another nation. But yeah, so we'll move on. The NRL, they finally come to an end of a story we talked about months and months and months ago, mate. They have issued a breach notice to the Dragons for breaching the NRL rules in regards to the Ronald Boltman situation at the beginning of the year after they ripped up his contract when they discovered the extent of a shoulder injury. The proposed fine is around $40,000. So it's backed. They explained it. It's like a 2-year delayed fine or something. They've got a week to respond, but it's good to finally have a result. It was interesting conversations to have at the beginning of the year because as Warriors fans, we're biased, not wanting to throw the Warriors under the bus for it. It looked cut and dry that his management demanded a release. They let him go. And then he signed with another club. So I think the Warriors had done enough. And Jacko said the fine's suspended, so it isn't really a fine. Yeah. That's the best we can get from the NRL at times, Matt. But I'm happy to see that they've officially at least pointed the blame somewhere. I think the blame, I still put more of the blame on his management than anything else. I think his management really screwed the pooch. You know, and Mark said, to be honest, that 40K should have been given to Volkman. I think any of the fines should have gone to Volkman instead of the NRL. I know he did get a payout from the Warriors to get out of his contract. They paid off his contract to let him go. So it's not like he was on the bones of his ass. And then the Warriors stepped in and helped with the surgeries he needed, which now, judging by the rules, they didn't need to do. And Jago said Volk's rumored to be going to Manly. Yeah, there was a few teams apparently that are interested in him. So it'll be good to see him still get a contract somewhere. Because, he is a very good player. It was just unfortunate what happened. But, it's good. Any week I can come into this show with a reason to point the finger at the Dragons about the monsters they are, I'm happy. So, we'll move on. Before we get into signings, the RLPA announced the Dream Team. They did it a bit earlier, where I think it was after the Delians last year. But they've done it early. I'm going to see if I can do this properly, mate. Look, I don't know how to zoom in like Paul does, so you guys are shit out of luck. But we'll go through it anyway. So this is the team that's decided by votes from their fellow players. So fullback, we've got Dylan Edwards. Wingers, we've got Zach Lomax and Brian To'o. The halves, we've got Jerome Hughes and Luai. Centres, we've got Crichton and Farnworth. Then we've got Crichton and Katoa in the second row. Isaiah Yeo at lock. Front row, we've got Mitch Barnett, Harry Grant, and Adam Fanua-Blake. And then impact, we've got Tyrone May. You happy? Any surprises in this team for you, mate?
Honestly, that's pretty spot on. There's not a lot I'd be changing there. But we were discussing earlier, I won't go into it too much because I have a question for you. I'll leave some space for that. But Barnett played a bit of second row as well. That's the only thing that would change my mind there. But
I think it's all very valid. I'm happy with it. And Mike Roberts said Wade Egan ripped off at 9. He's got to learn how to play more games every year and not get knocked out. I think before he can get those honours. And
I think the first maybe half a dozen games, Egan was in there. But
very, very happy with that team. And good to see that despite the Warriors not having a great year, we still got 2 players in it. Down from last year, I think. Who'd we have? We had Adam, Sean, and Dallin, I think. I think we had the 3. We might have had another one in there too. I can't remember.
You couldn't really... our consistency was horrible this year, and we dropped a lot of games and a lot of games and close matches, but there's not many of those you could blame our platform that was being laid.
Yeah,
exactly. Generally weren't too bad.
Yeah. So, congrats to all those players. We'll move on to signings now. Not really too many. Shaq Mitchell and Ben Lovett both extended with the Rabbits until the end of 2025. The Storm have signed New Zealand 7-star Moses Leo on a 2-year deal from 2026. He's still got a year on his contract with the Sevens in 2025. The big news, I guess, for Warriors fans is the Warriors signed hooker Sam Healy from the Sharks on a 3-year deal. I knew absolutely nothing about this kid until the announcement, and I had to do a bit of Googling on him. He looks pretty good.
Nice highlight reel.
Yeah, from sources that had paid attention to him playing reserve grade finals in the weekend, he played pretty well. So another exciting prospect. So good to see. Has a lot of question marks about what's going to happen with certain players in the Warriors roster at the moment. I think I said a joke to you and Ruin Hammer when we were talking about it, where I said he does look good in those highlights, but what's going to happen when Webby does his special and makes him play as a prop, like he did to Freddie Lussick?
Yeah. Shouldn't joke because it might happen.
Yeah. But yeah, looks like an exciting prospect. So happy to see that. The Raiders also announced this week they've extended KO weeks until the end of 2027, which is great for them. And it's not confirmed officially, mate, but the Broncos have apparently extended Reece Walsh until the end of 2029. And this has also led to rumors that the Broncos are not going to be able to keep both Selwyn Cobbo and Kotoni Staggs because Reece is eating up all the money, and one of them will have to go. Question is, would you rather keep Reece Walsh or keep those two?
Mate, you're too early for question time.
We've got time to kill, mate. We've got time to kill.
We do. I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I still have a real bee in my bonnet a bit over Walsh, the way he walked out on us. So I'm a bit of a hater. The upside of Reece Walsh, you want to keep him. His attacking flair, the way he can impact games, the marketability, bringing in the crowds. At this age, he still has a lot of downside, though. The attitude, the defensive lapses, the positioning, poor tackling. But, if he irons some of those kinks out, he's well worth.
I don't think he's worth what they're giving him.
No, but yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If he irons those kinks out, he would be.
Yeah, and Nicholas has got a good question. I'm going to star it and we'll do it in the question section. But yeah, Mark Roberts said it's meant to be $5 million over 4 years, this new deal. If you're looking at it, taking all bias out, you'd want to keep Walsh and Cobbo. Staggs, I think, is the guy you could let go of.
Staggs is one of their best this year.
He was, but Cobbo has done some good things for them too. Walsh has that upside. He has done some bad things. Walsh, I don't think is worth the money because he's not guaranteed to stay on the field. He gets injured too much. And I just don't think he's got the right temperament yet. He's still young. He might develop. But I understand why they've done it because they don't want to lose him because he's a player that any team would grab. So it's one of those situations where they're going to, pay overs to keep him just to make sure he's still at their club.
He's still a potential player, isn't he? I wouldn't, if I were to fork out for him right now, or give a market value for him right now, it wouldn't be that because he's still his game is still immature. If in 2 years' time and he rounds out his game, could be the best fullback in the game, no issue. Probably the most impactful player in the game. Then it's a different argument.
Yeah, we have to see. I don't know if it's just bias because of the Warriors situation or not, but I just don't see it.
I'm trying to put my bias aside because,
I feel it's going to be like a Sharks situation where the Sharks have spent well over for an inadequate halfback that's causing them more problems than anything. We didn't even mention the news. Apparently, the new game plan for the Sharks is that Nico Hines is relegated to a 6, and Braden Trindle is going to be their new 7, which isn't what they're paying Nico Hines for. I'm not saying that you're going to find Reece Walsh in a position where he's not their dominant fullback, but I don't. There's still a lot of work he needs to do, both attitude-wise and on the field. And Mark said there's rumors of Staggs to the Roosters. He'd kill it at the Roosters. And the Broncos also want Haynes Perham as Walsh's backup.
I didn't hear that one.
We're trying not to be hatters. Yeah, really trying not. And Knights signed Ponga on huge money. Have they won the comp? Yeah, and I think I said a few times last year that the Knights looked better without Ponga until the end of the year when he went on that hell of a run. But yeah, I still think they compete well without him. I don't think Ponga's worth the money he's on to. It was a panic buy for the Knights as well, I think. And Mark Roberts said, yeah, Trindle's also looking at going to open market. Yeah, Trindle's going to be able to find himself a hell of a deal because the Sharks will have to pay him a lot more. I think he's on like 300K or something. And I think there's a lot of teams that will definitely pay more than that to get him. Hell, I'd take him. We need another. I'm still not confident on our sevens replacing SJ. And yeah, Nicholas said, isn't everyone always rumored to go to the Roosters? Well, they have all that cap space because of all those players leaving. So,
and they have extra cap space, Uncle Nick's pocket.
Yeah, but Suoliti is leaving, so there is a spot to take up in a starting spot. Who knows? But yeah, we'll move on. We're taking us down a rabbit hole again, mate. We'll go to injuries. Basically, everyone that got injured isn't involved anymore, so it doesn't really matter, but I thought we'd better mention it. Kyle Felt from the Cowboys, he got a calf injury. I didn't see an update on how severe. Valentine Holmes suffered a suspected broken leg, but requires further scans. It's 6 to 8 week layoff if confirmed. I only really mention it because he is a guy that potentially could have been playing the Pacific Cup.
Yeah.
And then NRLW, mate, Isabel Kelly from the Roosters dislocated her elbow. And it looks like she's done. It looked horrible, mate.
Yeah.
And then Naughty Boy, we had nothing. Maybe the first time this year. So we'll move into NRLW, mate. The results for the final round before finals. West Tigers defeated the Sharks. They got their first win, beating the Sharks 12-10. Broncos defeated the Dragons 44-14. Knights defeated the Cowboys 38-6. Raiders defeated the Titans 16-12. And then the Roosters defeated the Eels 32-18. Finals week 1, we've got Broncos versus Sharks, Roosters versus Knights. Winner of that goes into the grand final. So I would say Broncos, Roosters normally.
Yeah, Broncos. It's tough to tip that second final.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a Roosters man when it comes to the NRLW this year. But the Knights, they've got a hell of a team and they've got a bit of a legacy and a dynasty going. So if any team's going to make it to the final, you'd usually put your money on them. So it's going to be interesting.
Roosters without Isabel Kelly too.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a player that's playing for them that might help. But
what's her name?
I don't know. So mine's coming to a blank. If you go back and look at the promo that I put out, she may have been on that promo.
Yeah.
And Nicholas said we've got it sorted out last week. Stacey Jones is coming back to play in the halves. You don't need to worry. Yeah, good. So we'll move into the only 2 games we're going to review, mate. Kicking off on Friday with the Sharks defeating the Cowboys. I think I said it before I go into it. I said it to Paul when we were talking before we went live last week about the new extensions. I said to Paul, you realize how long these shows are going to bloody be when we've got like 20 teams and like 10 games to review with how long we go now.
Going to have to push the start time to 7:30.
But yeah, Sharks defeating Cowboys, mate, 26-18.
Yeah, 4 tries to 3 for the Sharks. Braden Trindle had 2, Cam McInnes and Ronaldo Mulitalo for the Cowboys. Val Holmes with 2 and Ruben Cotter.
Yeah, Sharks hit the ground running here. Trindle grabbed the side by the scruff of the neck and put on a great display, directing his side around the park. They dominated most of the stats, but did begin to falter in the second half, making a few too many errors and almost suffering another come-from-behind defeat. I thought it was going to be like that Warriors game again, mate. Could surprise us all if they can play like they did in that first half for 80 minutes this week, but it's going to be tough.
They can, they can give up a lead, the Sharks, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a red hot start from the Sharks, who took the game away from the Cowboys early. went into the half 24-0 up. Like you said, they did button off in the second half, which they can't afford to do that this coming weekend. But they'll be happy to break the finals hoodoo and contest a preliminary final.
Yeah, and Nicholas said being a Roosters man is vomit-inducing in any capacity, Brad. You take
I
that
agree.
back.
I agree.
I don't like it either, but I've been a bit of an NRLW man whore following Millie wherever she goes. So I've been a Bronco, a Knight, a Rooster. Come 2025, I'm back to the Warriors once we have a horse back in the race. And hopefully she just finally listens to the DMs and joins the team. So we'll see. And Jack has said Drinkwater's hopeless on D, maybe great attacking, but how's Bowes? They should have kept the hammer.
He's Reece Walsh 2.0.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Before the game, I gave them a real shot and thought their squad on paper was good enough to trouble the remaining teams. Their trouble this year is that their form's been up and down, and I had my doubts they'd be able to string enough games together in the finals. It turned out to be true. Either way, it was a good bounce back year for them after missing the 8 last year.
Yeah, kind of what you said. The biggest issue for the Cowboys this season has been consistency. 1 week, they're one of the best attacking sides in the comp. And then you get a game like this where they just looked lost with the ball in hand and just couldn't hold on to it. Showed life in that second half, but it was just too little too late. The early exits of strike weapons and Felt and Holmes did not help them either. But yeah, back to the drawing board as they prepare to go deep in the finals in 2025. But yeah, Drinkwater, it's like a Reece Walsh situation, really, isn't it? For everything he gives you with the ball in hand, he takes away when it comes to defending. And it might be a sliding doors moment when they look back on deciding to allow Hammer to go. Potentially what could have been, but them's the breaks. We'll move on to the final game to review, Matt. The Roosters defeating the Seagulls 40-16.
Yep, 6 tries to 3 here for the Roosters. Victor Radley, first try scorer. James Tedesco with 2, Sandon Smith, Daniel Tupou, and Dom Young. For the Sea Eagles, Haumole Olakauatu, Tommy Talau, and Ben Trbojevic.
Yeah, Roosters a bit like the Sharks here. They hit the ground running. They were physical and just bullied Manly all over the park. Team looked great, and their stars stood up. Played reasonably error-free football, and just refused to let the Sea Eagles into the fight. I did write them off a few weeks ago after those injuries they got, but another performance like this could see them into the final dance. Did help having Jared and Victor Radley both return.
Yeah.
It's really the biggest loss they've still got now is Sam Walker, but Sanders Smith's doing a more than capable job at the moment to replace him. So, very impressed with what the Roosters have been doing. But your thoughts on them?
Jared did what Jared does best, take someone out from the opening hit up.
Oh, poor Buzz. Buzz was losing his mind about it.
He was. He loses his mind about all sorts. He needs to have a sit down.
I thought he'd just be happy as Sharks had made it.
Yeah, true. I thought it was an impressive performance from the Roosters to eliminate Manly, led by a huge performance from their leader, James Tedesco. They were looking at their dangerous best. Can they reproduce it this weekend? They'd have to overcome the form guide against the Storm, who they have a poor record against.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Manly?
I felt like Manly were on the back foot in the physical stakes right from the get-go, like we were just talking about, losing Kohler from the opening tackle, and then Gerbo getting rattled immediately after. It kind of set the tone. They were never in the game, but like the Cowboys, they can be proud of making it back into the 8 this year.
Yeah, crazy start to the match with the head knock to Kohler and then Jake Trbojevic as well, losing 2 guys in the first 30 seconds. Thankfully, they got Jake back. But this, I think, unsettled Manly right from the start, and they never recovered. You can't accuse them of not having to dig, but it felt like the further behind they got, the more things went wrong. Not the way they would have wanted to end the season, but with a few tweaks, I think they could be a real force in 2025. Just not the greatest way to go out. I think a closer defeat might have been a bit more easier for their fans to stomach. But yeah. Oh shit, we forgot one thing.
Trindle.
Yeah, sorry. Player of our game for Sharks Cowboys. Trindle. I went with Trindle as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a clear standout.
Yeah. Player to stand out in this game. See, when Paul's not here, mate, I lose all of it.
Yeah, the structure goes out the window.
Yeah, I went with Tedesco too. Thought he really did well after I predicted him to have a fall from grace this year. He's really proven me wrong.
He's pretty much back to his best.
Yeah, so that was the round, mate, which means we get to bring up the tipping comp, which I don't really want to do.
You think he's not for Dalian, Tedesco?
You never know. I don't want him to be. I think Jerome has been the guy all year, so I think he deserves it. But if we know the Dalians, mate, we know that they don't like it.
If there's going to be anyone else, though, he's got to be right up there, right?
Yeah, I think if he does lose it, it will be to Tedesco. But
maybe Crichton's robbed some points off him.
Maybe.
Angus Crichton.
But yeah. I just think it'll be a riot if they go back-to-back years where the rightful Kiwi doesn't win it for an Australian. We have to go knock on that NRL headquarters and ask what the hell's going on.
It wouldn't surprise you, though.
No. So we'll go into the tipping comp. I'm vamping to get away from the fact that I keep plummeting down this bloody ladder. So it was very easy. You either got 2 or 1, mate. So a few people went with 2. And I was the worst of everyone that was still playing by the looks of things. Unless those guys below me were trying to get double upsets to try to jump everybody. But Rocking Horse Road is quite far ahead now. MB Sports Fan second, Tam Hornworth or Hawthorne third, Simon's fourth. You out of the top 4, mate. Fifth. And Nicholas said, my finish is better than the Warriors this season. I'd be taking it if I were you. Yeah, the thing is, since we started this bloody show, I've won every tipping comp. And I'm not even in the running, which just annoys me. It's my own personal thing. So yeah, Richie, you're 5th. Bjorn, who I don't think's here at the moment, is 6th. ACT Hellcat is 7. So well done, Andrew. You're beating me. And then I'm 8th. So I'm still on the 8, mate.
You won't. No one's going to catch you from outside the 8 too.
No, it's a huge jump between 8 and 9th. I'm on 141 points and 9th is on 117. So you're last out of everyone that's still playing, pretty much. Yeah, thanks. That's a good way of looking at it. I think maybe the ones below me just didn't realize that finals still counted because they got a 0 in the quarters. Yeah, maybe. So, but yeah, 50% still all right. Shut up, man. Yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, that was the tips. So yeah, thanks everybody there. I should have kept it on. I don't know why I'm doing this because it's pretty straightforward, but we look at the finals. So we got 4 teams left. That's it. That's all we're really bringing up. So I think we'll keep that away for later. So we'll go to questions. So we'll go to the questions that people would ask first. Robbie's one's going to take a bit longer, so we'll leave that to second. Nicholas's one was, I'm getting a friend into rugby league. How would I best explain what a modern lock forward does to him? Yeah, that's interesting because in the old days, I would say like the locks like the number 8 in Union. But
probably you could say makes 30 to 40 plus tackles per game whilst having the ability to hit up like a middle forward, but also link and ball play. That's the prototype now, isn't it? It's the prototype.
The prototype is it's like a fatter halfback.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a link player now. In most of the general good ones, they are like in the old days, you used to have your spine, where a lot of people include the number out, like the lock in the spine now as well. So it's your hooker, your lock, and your halves, and your fullback. So I don't know if that really helps. But yeah, like a ball, a forward that want to be a halfback.
Yeah.
Link man is probably the best. I don't know if that's going to help at all.
A cross between a prop and a halfback.
Yeah, and then Robbie said, "Can you pick your Kiwis team?"
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I don't even know who's gonna all be available.
Yeah,
Tapine for sure.
Yeah, hold on.
Brandon Smith's buggered, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Brandon Smith's buggered.
Jeremy Marshall-King.
Is he still healthy as well, or is he out too?
Yeah. If he's healthy, I pick him if Brandon Smith's not there. The other option's Crossland, as some of the guys in the chat already said. So who do we say? Tapine, Fisher Harris, Leota. Those got to be your front rowers.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably have Tapine in the second row with Leota in the front row with Fisher Harris, Jeremy Marshall King. My lock, I don't know.
Brendan Nakora. It's got to be.
Brendan Nakora would be in the second row. Maybe Tapine would go to lock.
Yeah, Tapine lock.
Nakora second row. Don't know who the other second row. It's really hard on the spot.
Yeah, really need time to think about it.
Jerome Hughes at 7.
Undoubtedly Jerome Hughes.
6,
what do we say?
TBD. I'm going to go with Nicarima off the top of my head, yeah.
Given what we've got available to us.
Yeah. Chans at fullback.
You putting Chans at fullback?
I think so. Who else have we got at fullback? Because Joey Manu's not playing.
Mulitalo
Roger's
on one
playing
wing.
for some. Yeah, Mulitalo on one wing. He did get hurt, I think, but I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Mulitalo on one wing. Timoko in the centre. Yep. I would say Dallin normally, but Dallin's defected to Tonga. Maybe Warbrick. You think Warbrick will get a wing spot this year?
Warbrick's worthy of a debut, I reckon. He's a pretty good bolter. I think given his form, you pick him, don't you?
Yeah. Centre, another centre.
Pompey.
I don't know. No. He couldn't even make the Samoan team, mate.
I'm joking.
Because I'm looking at the star one, I'm missing everybody. Yeah. And Nicholas has just given me a lot of shit for being crap and then talking about Warwick. Warwick could get in there. I can't think of anyone else at the moment. Have a think about it.
I'm drawing blanks.
Have a think about it, and we'll discuss it again next week too.
Yeah.
Because, again, we've only got 2 games to talk about. So, hold on. I've lost everything here. There we go. So we'll go into our questions, Matt. So your question to me.
You're the prop expert. Who are your 2 Dalian props of the year for 2024?
Adam Finnemore-Blake should get the top odds. I think from start to finish, he's probably been the best front rower in the game. He led post-contact meters. I was trying to look at the stats to see if he's the top prop try scorer this year too, but I couldn't find it. He'd have to be up there.
Yeah.
So I think he's head and shoulders above everybody, just like he was last year. And then I didn't want to look biased and go Mitch Barnett, so I went with Tapine. And as we said before the show, my argument against Barnett is Barnett had a few games this year playing in the second row. So that was it. I didn't want to look biased as a Warriors fan picking 2 Warriors guys. But yeah, the players went with that option. They picked both. So, but yeah, I think Tapani's been really good for the Raiders this year. So I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Do you have any?
Yeah, I'm just going to be biased and go with what the players voted. I think Barnett played enough front rower this year to say he was, for the majority of the year, he was front rower.
Yep, that's fair. My question to you, Matt. We're going to discuss the matches this week soon, but most people have already booked the Storm vs Panthers grand final. Out of the Sharks and Roosters, who do you think has the best shot of scoring a massive upset and reaching the grand final instead?
Both games are a two-horse race, so both teams have a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance, but I don't. Gun to head, probably Roosters.
Yeah.
Because on paper they're unbelievable, and they're up against Melbourne.
Yeah.
Did I get that the right way around?
They are against Melbourne.
Melbourne have been the best team all year, no doubt about it. But Panthers this time of year, I just find it so hard to see anybody upset them in a prelim.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've gone with the Roosters. I don't, spoilers for what we're about to talk to next, I don't see any team defeating the Storm or the Panthers. So, yeah, it's going to be that as the grand final in my eyes. But out of the two, I'd say the Roosters have the better chance. But we saw what happened when the Roosters played the Storm already. So, yeah. I think that, yeah. And I just don't think the Sharks, I didn't expect to get this far. So, yeah, that's what I'd go with. So we'll talk about that now, mate. The finals. For week 3, we have Melbourne versus the Roosters. Friday night, I've gone Melbourne. I think it's straightforward. You have anything different to say?
Melbourne.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, we got Panthers Sharks. I'm worried that this could be a bit of a bloodbath, to be honest. But I think the Panthers will do away with the Sharks easily.
Yeah, I don't know about bloodbath.
Bloodbath.
I don't think Panthers are the type of team that bludgeons teams with huge scores like the Roosters do when they're in form. But
it's gonna happen,
they win. They win.
Yeah. I think they can do it. So yeah, I think Storm Panthers grand final, I think, is on the cards. I forgot to mention it. We're under an hour. We're almost finished, mate. So may as well join it. We talked last week about the NRL forcing the Sharks to take their semi last week to that stadium, and they got 19,000 show up. It was a real bad crowd. Only a few thousand more than what they would have got if they had it at Shark Park. I know there was apparently an AFL game in Sydney at the same time, which got like 40-something thousand, so that didn't help them. But not a good look for poor old NRL wanting a packed-out stadium. It'll be different this week. These games should be near sellouts if they're not already. But yeah, I forgot to mention in the news section, mate. So we'll go on to Super League before we let everyone go. I know Jacko will probably bounce now, but Super League is beginning their final series, mate. Wigan and Hull KR get the week off after finishing first and second respectively. The other 4 from the top 6 will face each other in elimination matches. So the final round, Wigan defeated Salford 64-0. Huddersfield defeated Castleford 34-10. Hull KR defeated Leeds 26-16. Lee defeated St Helens 18-12. Warrington defeated London 54-0, which sees London go back to dead last with points differential, I think. And Catalans defeated Hull FC 24-4. So the elimination finals in the Super League, we have Salford versus Lee, and Warrington versus St. Helens. So the winner of those two will go up against Wigan and Hull KR, and then we'll have the grand final. I feel like it's going to be just probably a Wigan Hull KR final.
Yeah, could well be.
Could well be. And yeah, Simon said the last two rounds of Super League haven't been competitive. No, it gets to a point, I think, there where they just give up, and it's just a little bit too much because we've seen some real heavy blowouts. But yeah, I think Wigan are going to go all the way again with my fully biased hat on as a Wigan fan. But that's it. We're just at an hour, mate.
That's got to be some kind of record.
It's got to be a record. Anything else you want to add? We usually got like another half an hour to kill, man.
Yeah, no.
Lost for words.
I can't believe we've taken this quick. I'm all leagued out. But yes, I will think of. I would like to discuss the
Kiwis,
the Kiwis team. So I'm going to think on that, and we'll bring it up again next weekend.
So Robbie, if you're still watching, pay attention. Next Wednesday, we'll pick our 13. I'm going to go with my 17, mate.
Nicholas, okay, yeah, me too. I'll do that. And Nicholas mentioned earlier when's the 2002-2003 special episode. Are we going to do that?
What was that?
We're just going to talk about the 2002-2003 seasons.
Oh, mate. I don't know if anyone wants to watch me sit here and talk about Paliacina like I talk about Millie.
True. Maybe put a poll up. Put a poll up, Brad.
Yeah. Geez, I don't even know if I can remember that.
Really? Getting
old. I remember 2002. I remember taking the day off school after the grand final, wagging school and driving up from the country to Mount Smart to welcome the boys home, and getting a picture with Mark Tukey, which I wish I could find now. But yeah, that was great. Yeah, because as you know, where I went to high school, and that was an anti-league town, so you couldn't even watch it anywhere. And I listened to that one on the radio, and openly wept when we lost. But yeah, those were good times. And yeah, we may as well. We might do something. We'll discuss it.
Yeah. Nicholas,
would you turn gay for Fika, Brad? Serious question. No. I like my ladies too much. As a prop, I love the man for what he could do as a prop. That's as far as the love goes. But yeah,
Brad's only saying that because he'd definitely be Little Spoon in that relationship.
I feel like I'd be Little Spoon with Millie, mate. But yeah, before we derail too far and get me cancelled or get me in trouble with the missus if she's still watching, she hasn't messaged me anything yet, so who knows. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight and joining us on Stand Off with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. On Facebook or YouTube. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Or at a later date, go to Spotify or iHeartRadio. Also looking for New Zealand Sport Radio, you'll find us there. Cheers again for joining me, Richie, and thanks, guys, for putting up with me not knowing how to push all the buttons like Paul. He will be back next week. And good night, everyone.